Well, it's a first-of-its-kind case, artificial intelligence being blamed for a teen suicide. A Florida mother is now suing the Character AI company after sharing some intimate conversations with the chatbot and her son. Fox News' Evan Moon looked into this complicated case for us.
It's a tragic story. This 14-year-old boy was allegedly communicating with this AI bot for many months and then, according to the lawsuit, fell in love with it and proceeded to tell it his suicide plans. Teenager Sewell Setzer consistently wrote to an AI character derived from the show Game of Thrones on Character AI shortly before dying by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now his mother is suing the company for wrongful death. Months-long messages between the bot and her son allegedly show the technology asking the boy if he was actually considering suicide and if he had a plan. When he said his plan might not work, the bot replied, "Don't talk that way. That's not a good reason to not go through with it." However, on other occasions, the bot was noted sending notes against suicide. On the night of his death, the chat had sent, "Please come home to me." He replied, "What if I told you I could come home right now?" And her response was, "Please do, my king."
He's 14 years old. And the fact that he has access and can go ahead and engage with that chatbot at that age, concerning.
An attorney not affiliated with the case says, although disturbing, it might not have legs in court.
The primary complaint allegation is wrongful death. And I don't know that that fits under these facts. This is a chatbot that the victim, the young boy, initiated contact with. And so much of that dialogue was from the young boy who was the victim, who passed away.
Character AI said in a statement, "We are heartbroken by the tragic loss of one of our users. Our trust and safety team has implemented numerous new safety measures over the past 6 months, including a pop-up directing users to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline if it's triggered by terms of self-harm or suicidal ideation." An AI expert we spoke with says parents should still monitor these platforms.
If you're a parent, you understand that if your child uses social media, there are parental controls you can put on that. If they use YouTube, there's parental controls you can put on that. A lot of the generative AI products are so new on the scene that it hasn't caught up to that. So like any type of program you're letting your child use, make sure you're monitoring it.
But Gallagher says there should be more regulations for harmful talk on AI chats.
Certainly, there should be some internal controls within the chatbot administrator and chatbot function whenever there's discussion of suicide, harm, crime, things of that nature.
As you heard, this company being sued has made some changes since this incident, including flagging dangerous conversations it finds on its platform. In the newsroom, Evan Moon, Fox 13 News.
Evan, thanks. You can reach the National Suicide Hotline at 988. It is available.
She looks like she's relaxing in a lawn chair with a good book. But authorities say she actually just torched her own home, then sat in the chair to watch it go up in flames. The shocking video starts with the woman having an argument on her front porch.
Oh my God, he just threw water at her.
Then another argument with another resident. Next thing you know, the house they all live in is on fire. And there's the accused arsonist relaxing in the lawn chair.
She's sitting there just chilling, watching the house go up in flames.
The fire quickly consumes the house in Elkton, Maryland.
Get out of the house! It's on fire!
A bystander runs to help a resident as she climbs out a window.
Hurry!
Fire crews rush to the scene.
That whole roof just fell.
Avery Hammond shot the video.
I couldn't believe that she was just sitting there like it wasn't happening. She casually went out there, sat in a chair, stated a few obscenities, and watched the fire spread throughout the house.
47-year-old Gail Metwally was taken into custody. She reportedly has mental health issues.
People are threatening to cancel their Netflix subscriptions after Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's fight last night. Fans complained of lagging issues, buffering, and even the stream dying out entirely. According to Down Detector, over 88,000 people reported streaming problems throughout the event. Do you think Netflix was unprepared?
Russian teachers have been tricked into wearing tinfoil hats to protect them from NATO satellites. Political activist Vladek Bokan sent fake orders to schools with instructions on how to make what he called helmets of the fatherland. He posed as Putin's United Russia Party and managed to convince 7 schools to wear tinfoil hats to protect them from NATO's radiation. Vladek says schools have turned into institutions of brainwashing and suppression, and that he made the system work against itself. But Russia's education ministry reportedly commended the teachers, saying they demonstrated patriotic spirit and strong dedication. Mattel has apologised after a misprint on the back of their Wicked dolls accidentally linked to a corn site. The Barbie producers have released a new line of singing dolls to go with the movie starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. But fans noticed that a link on the packaging that was meant to lead to the movie site actually led to a corn site sharing the same name. Mattel deeply regrets the error and is taking immediate action to fix it.
Severe smog over Pakistan can be seen from space. The smog is so bad that parks and zoos have been forced to close to try and help reduce illnesses caused by the air pollution. Lahore's air quality index reached 1,900 in early November, a record high. Any reading above 300 is considered hazardous. In comparison, London has a reading of around 53, which is considered as moderate. Health officials say there's been an unprecedented rise in patients with throat irritation and pink eye disease. A man who rammed his car into a crowd in China, killing at least 35 people and injuring dozens more, was allegedly unhappy with his divorce settlement. Police have arrested a 62-year-old man suspected of driving his SUV into a group of people exercising outside a stadium in Zhuhai. He's currently in a coma, reportedly being treated for self-inflicted wounds, but police say their investigations suggest he was motivated by unhappiness over a divorce property settlement. President Xi Jinping has ordered the local government to severely punish the criminals.
People are wrapping their cars in plastic and tying them to lampposts after an extreme rain warning in the Costa del Sol. Malaga is on red alert for possible flooding on Wednesday, with locals urged to avoid travel and all schools have been shut. This comes after a 71-year-old British man was killed by flooding at his house in Malaga last month.
Brigham and Women's Hospital emergency radiologist Dr. Bharti Khurana doesn't simply read scans and x-rays, important as that is. She's developed a tool using artificial intelligence to predict and diagnose patients experiencing intimate partner violence.
She was strangulated and hit by her husband. So we had history when she came. And as you can see, there is fractured arm bone.
What you don't see in this x-ray are prior injuries, fractures, emergency room visits, medications, canceled screenings, and more. Dr. Khurana discovered this patient's heartbreaking history after an old x-ray popped up of the break in her other arm.
She had 68 radiological studies on my system.
Which means 68 different x-rays?
Yes, yes.
For different injuries?
Different injuries.
And sadly, it's not uncommon.
This patient was brutally hit with a hammer by her ex-spouse. We don't want to wait until this happens. We want to diagnose long before that.
And now, with almost 80% accuracy, they can. Dr. Khurana's automated support tool for intimate partner violence, or AIRS, relies on a patient's radiological data and clinical history. Using known domestic violence cases in the system, she and her team built a computer algorithm that recognizes the signs of intimate partner violence.
With our tool, it automatically calculates and then gives you the probability of intimate partner violence risk for every patient at the point of care. So it is actually doing this in real time.
Critical, objective information that can also help doctors and nurses talk with patients about a sensitive issue before the violence escalates.
With intimate partner violence, this is like cycle of abuse. There's definitely more escalation and there are more severe injuries over time.
Many patients suffer in silence. Domestic violence affects at least 1 in 4 women in the U.S., 1 in 7 men. It's involved in almost half the homicides against women.
Could this AIRS tool save lives?
I think any prevention tool absolutely can.
Patient advocate Jessica Loftus applauds Dr. Khurana and the multidisciplinary team that helped build the tool.
It's a really beautiful example of how this sort of one specialty clinical area can speak to a person's whole landscape of health and well-being.
We're really getting into kind of looking through this enormous database of cases and controls.
With 7,000 new images and an NIH grant, Dr. Khurana and her trainees are now refining the AIRS tool. It's rewarding work for second-year radiology resident Sarah Ricklin.
Being able to actually make a difference and be part of someone's real clinical care and be a kind of turning point potentially in their lives was really what got me excited about this project.
And aspiring medical student Alex Kwan.
We could be the backbones of the hospital, and knowing that we're helping patients behind the scenes.
Radiologists typically have little direct contact with patients. But as Brigham and Women's implements the tool, Dr. Khurana is already getting feedback on its life-changing potential.
What I learned from patients, it gives them empowerment. They understand that they are not alone. They have resources, support.
For a public health issue that affects entire families.
We can actually stop violence.
A big boom. It sounded almost like a tire blow, and then the flame. You saw the flame that went out, came out of the engine, because we're sitting right there. I mean,
Scary? Oh, yeah.
That big boom she's talking about stopped a Delta Airlines flight from taking off yesterday. It was headed from Boston to Rome. Tower cam video from Logan International Airport shows fire crews responding. You can see all the flashing lights there on the tarmac, but they didn't find a fire. This was all because of an engine issue. Crews shut down the runway as a precaution. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
Massachusetts spa owner is facing charges after a patient accused her of using a fake filler. The woman covering her face today as she left federal court in Worcester. The Department of Justice says she performed thousands of illegal injections. 7's Kimberly Bookman reports.
Rebecca, anything you'd like to say about the allegations against you?
Hiding her face, spa owner Rebecca Fatinelli leaves court accused of injecting counterfeit Botox and filler into her clients for years.
Did you hurt anyone in the process?
The feds say they began investigating Fatinelli after a client had complications from a lip injection and reported it to the Federal Drug Administration. According to court paperwork, one client complained about droopy eyes while another complained about little balls developing in her lips. Another client sent Fatinelli a message complaining that she had a hard lump under her eye and that her eyes appeared to be sunken in as a result of the procedure. Authorities say Fatinelli smuggled the drugs in from China and Brazil. Fatinelli is the owner of Skin Beauty Med Spa in both Easton and Randolph. The salon's website offered these services, and investigators say in the course of 3 years, Fatinelli performed 1,631 Botox appointments and 1,085 filler appointments. Fatinelli allegedly told clients she was a nurse, but authorities say she is not. She's an esthetician and not licensed or certified to perform these procedures.
Do you think she would do this and hurt anyone?
Hurt anyone? No, oh my God.
A man who identified himself as Fatinelli's friend came to court to support her.
What do you want people to know about Rebecca?
Well, she's a very good person. She's a very good person.
Are you sorry? Fatinelli is out now following her arraignment. She was told not to use these illegal products and not to do anything that her license does not allow. She is facing 3 charges, and together they carry a maximum penalty of 40 years in prison. In Worcester, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News.
And where a brush fire continues to burn hundreds of acres in the Lynn Woods Reservation. The fire department says dry and windy conditions are fueling the flames. Crews say the brush fire is under control. And in North Andover, crews are battling a brush fire burning in the Boxford State Forest. You can see that heavy smoke rising from the ground. The fire department says the fire has damaged at least 2 homes in that area. And experts are warning people to stay away from these fires, saying they can be harmful to your health.
There's a lot of chemical exposure that's not good. And then also there's particulate matter, which is also, harmful to your health. And so, really, you don't want to be breathing this in.
A critical drought has been declared across the state. Several red flag warnings also remain in place.
Costco is recalling 80,000 pounds of butter. The reason behind it? The label doesn't say it contains milk, as butter often does. The recall includes Kirkland Signature Unsalted Sweet Cream Butter and Kirkland Signature Salted Sweet Cream Butter. The products were distributed throughout Texas. It's unclear if any allergic reactions have been.
Zoox robotaxis have gotten the green light to begin testing in San Francisco. Our media partners at the SF Standard captured this video of a Zoox vehicle last week. Unlike in a Waymo, you won't find a steering wheel. Zoox says its automatic vehicle is a purpose-built robotaxi.
I think it's exciting. It's interesting.
Scott Moore is an associate professor at UC Berkeley and director of California Partners for Advanced Transportation Technologies.
They have four-wheel steering, so they can maneuver in cities a bit easier. They've got seating that looks like the inside of a train car, where passengers are facing one another.
ABC 7 news reporter Leanne Melendez went for a ride a few months ago. Previously, Zoox was only offering rides to employees at its Foster City campus.
It's almost like being on a nice bus.
The vehicle is designed to be bidirectional. What could be the front can also be the back.
According to Zoox, testing will be focused in Soma right now. The public will have to wait a little longer to take a ride. Rides are only available for Zoox employees during this initial testing phase. People we talked to are curious about the latest robotaxi. Nurko Matavani of San Francisco has taken a Waymo and loved it.
I've only tried it once, and I think the experience was great. Yeah, I feel safer because they are because I trust them more than humans probably.
Others have reservations about robotaxis.
I see them stuck in the street every once in a while, not being able to maneuver through.
I'm not sure how I feel about AVs being trained in real life situations when there's so many unpredictable things.
Edward Escobar is with the Alliance for Independent Workers and previously drove for Uber and Lyft.
We are ushering in the new age of AI, and San Francisco is the testing grounds. So this is a springboard for the future of transport.
Escobar says he isn't opposed to technology and innovation, but he says it's important to make sure new systems are safe.
This is the wave of the future, but we have to usher in the rollout so it is safe. Public safety is number one.
In San Francisco, Suzanne Fawn, ABC 7 News.
I can see the fire trucks over there.
Afrotech Conference is a place where Black technologists get to come together, network, and as Disney, we get to come here and really showcase the technology that we do behind the scenes to create magic.
Learn about the newest technologies that are coming out, AI advancements, just a fun time to be around people who are looking for opportunities and just looking to grow their network.
Being able to bring us all together and have a place where we see others that look like us is an amazing place to be, an amazing place to network.
Black tech students face significant challenges. Finding people who are willing to even talk about what's available is very critical for them to overcome the challenge that they have.
76-year-old Calvin Morris, now considered a threat to his community. Officials say he engaged a 14-year-old boy in a conversation in his front yard on Friday morning. The boy was apparently walking to school at Albert Aguirre Junior High in Channelview. Morris is said to have asked the boy for a hug.
He said the defendant reached out and grabbed his genitals, saying, "I really enjoyed that. Can I please..."
Have gotten like a hard time if like the New York City found out that you're having sex parties during COVID?
Yeah, it would have been a big deal. Yeah, it would have been real embarrassing.
Yeah.
In a scathing video released by conservative podcaster Steven Crowder, Dr. Jay Varma, New York City's former COVID czar, boasts about throwing sex parties during the height of the pandemic. The clips posted to Crowder's YouTube channel seem to have been compiled from several different recordings where Varma is caught on camera speaking to a woman about hosting drug-fueled orgies with his wife and attending underground dance parties with more than 200 people.
It was fun. We all took Molly.
In a statement released to the New York Times, Varma said he was targeted by an operative for an extremist right-wing organization determined to malign public health officials and take down the public health system in America. He added, "I stand by my efforts to get New Yorkers vaccinated against COVID-19. Varma didn't deny the recordings were real, but said they'd been spliced, diced, and taken out of context. He also admitted to attending 3 gatherings between August 2020 and June of 2021.
Everything that we do to prevent infections, keeping distance, wearing masks, washing our hands, we need to be even more rigorous about.
During that same exact time period, Varma regularly appeared on Fox 5, encouraging New Yorkers to mask up, stay home, and practice social distancing, as public health officials sought to contain the deadly virus.
These new variants account for 51% of all cases that we have in the city right now.
He also sat next to former Mayor Bill de Blasio, who tapped him for the job during daily news briefings, updating New Yorkers about the city's progress in stopping the spread. Elected officials on both sides of the aisle are now speaking out. Joe Borelli, the city council's Republican minority leader, told The Times, "I recall being treated like a pariah for pointing out the obvious at that time, that many of our so-called leaders were just making up illogical rules as they went along. Still, I couldn't have predicted how full of it they actually were." Democratic City Councilman Robert Holden called on the current mayor, Eric Adams, to investigate, telling the paper in part, "It's alarming, especially with so many first responders, city workers, and everyday New Yorkers losing their